We are looking at a pair of headphones that sit in that very specific category where the goal is not to impress you in the first 5 seconds, but to tell you the truth every single time you press play. The HD 490 Pro is an open-back studio-focused headphone built for one purpose above everything else: accuracy. And the more you listen, the more you realize it is not trying to add anything extra to your music. It is trying to show you what is already there. The first impression is not about hype or exaggeration. It is about space. Open-back design immediately creates a sense of air between instruments that most consumer headphones simply cannot replicate. Instead of everything sitting inside your head, the sound stretches outward. You get a presentation that feels wider, more natural, and closer to sitting in front of real speakers in a treated room. The tuning is where things start to feel serious. The low end is controlled rather than boosted. It does not try to shake your head or add artificial weight. Instead, it gives you bass in a way that feels disciplined. You hear the texture of kick drums, the shape of bass guitars, and the timing between low-frequency elements without anything being overemphasized. It is the kind of bass that helps you make decisions instead of distracting you from them. Moving into the mid-range, this is where clarity becomes the main story. Vocals are positioned with intention. They are neither buried nor artificially pushed forward. They just exist where they should, which sounds simple but is actually very difficult to get right. Instruments like guitars, keys, and strings separate cleanly without stepping on each other. There is a sense of organization in the mix that becomes easier to understand the longer you listen. The high frequencies are detailed without being harsh. That balance is critical because studio headphones often fall into one of two traps. Either they become too sharp and fatiguing, or they roll off too much detail. Here, you get enough brightness to hear reverb tails, micro details, and subtle texture changes, but not so much that your ears feel tired after extended sessions. This makes them practical for long editing or mixing work without constant breaks. One of the biggest strengths here is imaging. You can place sounds in space very precisely. When something moves from left to right or sits slightly behind another element, you can actually follow that movement instead of guessing it. That kind of spatial accuracy is what makes these useful in a production environment. It reduces uncertainty when making mix decisions. Comfort also plays a major role in the overall experience. These are clearly designed for long studio sessions rather than short listening bursts. The padding is soft enough to avoid pressure points, and the fit maintains stability without feeling overly tight. You can wear them for hours and they fade into the background, which is exactly what you want when you are focused on creative work. Build quality is practical and intentional. Nothing feels unnecessary or decorative. The structure is solid, the adjustments feel consistent, and the design prioritizes durability over flashy materials. These are headphones meant to be used every day in a studio environment, not displayed as a luxury accessory. Because this is an open-back design, isolation is not part of the equation. External sound comes in and audio leaks out. That is simply the trade-off of this architecture. In a quiet room, that trade-off becomes an advantage because it enhances the natural listening experience. In a noisy environment, it becomes a limitation. So placement and use case matter a lot here. What stands out overall is how honest the entire presentation feels. There is no attempt to make everything sound exciting or larger than life. Instead, it focuses on consistency and transparency. And while that might feel less dramatic at first, it becomes more valuable the longer you use it. You start to trust what you are hearing, and that trust is exactly what matters in audio production. For creators, this kind of tool is less about enjoyment and more about translation. You are not just listening to music, you are making decisions that will affect how other people experience that same sound on different systems. Headphones like this reduce the gap between what you hear and what actually exists in the recording. Even for casual listeners, there is something interesting about hearing music in this kind of unfiltered way. Songs you thought you knew well start revealing small details you never noticed before. Background elements, subtle effects, layering choices, all become more visible once the exaggerated consumer tuning is removed. The HD 490 Pro is not designed to be exciting in a traditional sense. It is designed to be reliable. And in the world of monitoring audio, reliability is far more important than hype. It is the kind of headphone that does not try to win your attention, but earns your trust over time. If your goal is to hear music as accurately as possible, or you need a dependable reference tool for production work, this is positioned exactly in that space where precision and long-term usability meet.